This image shows that I was already stripped to another world and leap into the void in alien territory without an atmosphere. Exotic madness 400,000 kilometers away, there were no precedents, no way to predict what was going to happen when the ship landed, and there was no room for error. On July 16, 1969, the Apollo 11 crew only knew with certainty where they intended to go, but they had every reason to wonder if they would ever set foot on their own planet again. Kennedy has already been clear in 1962 when he proclaimed that America wanted to go to the moon not because it's easy, but because it's difficult, and baptized this challenge as the greatest and most dangerous adventure which is ever the man has embarked. Today, more than 4 decades after Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins completed their extraordinary feat, JFK definition still applies. The summit of the cosmic Everest was reached, but not without facing an ever high level of the risk. In fact, Apollo 11 astronauts have acknowledged that they understand the journey, knowing that their chances of successfully reaching the moon and returning to Earth alive were around 50%.
When man conquered the moon, it was a miracle that NASA achieved thanks to the increased budget for space mission approved by the President John F. Kennedy in the middle of the Cold War, and in which they show the technological, scientific, military, and economic dominance, which carried a very clear message. The United States rules here. The designated moon landing area had previously been called the Sea of Tranquility because to its extensive flat surface. It was on July 20 that the Eagle successfully descended to the surface, where Armstrong and Aldrin were the first humans to step on it. The first step was for Neil Armstrong, who prepared a phrase that became very famous, and that is a small step for a man or giant leap for making it. For 2.5 hours, Armstrong and Aldrin explored the lunar surface, while Collins piloted the Apollo 11 orbited around the satellite. Due to the bad weather forecast in the landing zone of the Earth, when they returned they had to head south towards Hawaii, where they were picked up by the USS Hornet.
Colonel Paul W. Tibbets, Tier 1, was the pilot in charge piloting the B-29 bomber that dropped the atomic bomb on the Japanese city of Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, which it will be named after his mother. The protagonist of this 1945 photo is Sergeant George R. Bob Caron, tail gunner on the Enola Gay, the B-29 bomber that dropped the bomb atomic over the Japanese city of Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. A 6-kilometer high column rises from the ground zero over the ruins of the city of Hiroshima. The photograph was taken by the George Caron, Enola Gay's tail gunner, who was given a camera at the last minute and which he fired through the plexiglass window of his barrel station. Little Boy was the name which the Americans baptized the bomb dropped in Hiroshima, the uranium-235 bomb, weighing 4,400 kilograms, 3 meters in length, 75 centimeters in diameter, and with an explosive power of 16 kilotons to 1,600 tons of dynamite, exploded at 8:15 a.m. on August 6, 1945, at 600 meters altitude above the Japanese city, killing approximately 104,000 people.
In 1945, World War II was coming to an end. The World War ended in Europe with the fall of Nazi Germany. The Allies knew that the Empire of Japan would soon reign, but the United States was to hasten that moment. During the war, the United States was carrying out a project aimed at building the first nuclear weapons, which was called the Manhattan Project. The United States was convinced that before the end of the war it had to demonstrate the power that the nuclear bombs it had created could have, and also to collect the damage that Japan had caused in the that attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, and that this action led to the American national entry into the war. President Harry Truman was made the great event known to the American nation. The Japanese straight that the war from the air and Pearl Harbor. Now we have hit them back multiplied.